Welcome everyone. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. If it wasn't enough that a 20-year-old woman was dragged to her brutal death for over 10 kilometers by a car occupied by 5 men on New Year's night, every day there are more twists and turns in this case that are only confounding the public. We were all shocked as we heard from the deceased Anjali's friend Nidhi for the first time yesterday, as she came out accepting that she fled from the spot of the accident and didn't inform anyone about the fact that Anjali was dragged under a car in front of her eyes. Now there are even more questions emerging on her conduct and her statements. Has she been economical with the truth? Is she attempting to whitewash her own role in the accident, or is she being used to dilute the case against the accused? These are all questions that are being thrown up by the victim's family today and the public at large, even as more and more CCTV footages are emerging and the police is trying to build a watertight case. But there are so many doubts over the circumstances of the accident and the role of the individuals involved. Did the accused deliberately hit the women? Did they know that they were dragging someone? Or were they truly unaware of the impact of their actions? One thing that has become clearer, and that is the role of the police initially. Sources confirmed to CNN News 18 that the police has indeed found lapses on the part of the patrolling teams that night after they received calls on the body being dragged. But what about everything else? Whom can you really trust in this case? Was Anjali a victim of brutal circumstances, or is there more than what meets the eye? We'll take those questions to our experts and guests in just a bit. First, take a look at two new twists in this case today. So there's a CCTV footage that has come to light that shows Anjali's friend Nidhi reach her home. This is that footage. The timing as per the CCTV here is 1:37 a.m. on Jan 1. This is before the supposed time of the accident itself. So this has raised questions over whether Nidhi was really with Anjali at the time of the accident as per she herself and the police. Secondly, here is the post-mortem report of the deceased woman, which doesn't mention alcohol at all. Now, Anjali's family is using this to say that Nidhi, her so-called friend, lied when she came out publicly yesterday to say that Anjali was heavily drunk when she was driving the scooty and met with the accident. So now many questions have been thrown up, especially by the deceased family. Let's take a look at what each side is saying or claiming. First up is Nidhi's statement that Anjali was drunk and she insisted on driving the scooty that night. That's her version. Anjali's family is now saying that the post-mortem report doesn't mention any alcohol, so they're raising doubt over Nidhi's version. What is the police version here? The police is telling CNN News 18 that only the viscera report, which is yet to come out, will confirm if there was any alcohol present in the body or not. Secondly, another Nidhi statement is that she was with Anjali at the time of the accident. Now, after what has come to light, as I showed, Anjali's family is claiming that Anjali had dropped Nidhi before the accident because of this CCTV footage where the timing is of before the accident. What does the police tell us? Police are indeed maintaining that Nidhi and Anjali were together at the time of the accident. This is something they had come out and said in public on record yesterday as well. Thirdly, Nidhi's statement is that she left the accident spot and she reached home. Anjali's family is now saying that how did she reach home before the accident took place? That means she wasn't there when the accident took place. What is the police version? The police is telling us that the CCTV timings are off. Nidhi indeed reached home post-accident, which is at around 2:30 a.m. There is in fact an eyewitness who saw Nidhi return home, who has put the time also at 2:30 a.m. Interestingly, this man's version raises the question of whether Nidhi's phone was indeed destroyed enough to be unusable as she had claimed yesterday. Listen.
उनने मेरे से मतलब पहले तो उन्होंने अपना गेट खुलवाने की कोशिश करी, अपनी मम्मी को आवाज मारी, उनने गेट खुलवाने की कोशिश करी तो मतलब गेट नहीं खुला। तो फिर उसने मेरे से बोला, निशान तेरे पास सी टाइप चार्जर है? तो मैंने बोला हाँ मेरे पास हैगा। तो उन्होंने मेरे को अपना फोन दिया, मैंने चार्जिंग पे लगा दिया उसका फोन। तो फिर बस मैं लगा के बाहर ही आया था तो इतने में उसके हमने उसका गेट खोल दिया था। ठीक है, तो करेक्ट 2:30 बज रहे थे, हम बाहर ही बैठे थे ना, हमारे जला के फोन हाथ में था, हमने टाइम देखा जब वो आई थी। वैसे तो वो सोचता हूँ तो अकेली रहती थी। हाँ। बस जैसे कभी कभार उसकी मम्मी वगैरह आ गई, नानी वगैरह आ गई तो आ गई, वैसे अक्सर उन्हें आसपास मोहल्ले पड़ोस में बोला था बस इतना ही कि मेरा एक्सीडेंट हो गया स्कूटी से, और कुछ नहीं बोला।
We will of course get you more of the questions that are being raised on Nidhi's conduct. But let's try and piece together what we can of the sequence of events, especially while taking into account the police's investigation. Now take a look at these three important set of CCTV footages. The first footage is when the girls are actually seen leaving the hotel where they were together. The CCTV time as per this footage is 1:31 a.m. But actually the police has told CNN News 18 the actual time the girls left the hotel is around 1:45 a.m. The CCTV timer here too is off. Then is this, the middle footage, which is the supposed moment of the accident. This is around 2:05 a.m. The police are corroborating that according to their sequence of events, this is indeed when the accident took place, between 2 a.m. to 2:10 a.m. Finally is the footage that has come to light today, which has raised doubts. This is when Nidhi reaches home. The CCTV time, as I mentioned here, is 1:37 a.m. and this has become a bone of contention. But the police, and as I just played out, the eyewitness say that actually she reached her home at 2:30 a.m. Again, the CCTV timer here seems to be off, and this will then put the entire timeline correctly. If this is indeed the timeline or not, that of course will eventually be corroborated by the police's investigation. So the big question we asked today, with more twists and turns, and I don't think we've heard the final word on this, either from the individuals involved or as far as CCTV footages are concerned, just exactly whose version can you trust?
मैम अल्कोहल पाया जाता तो इसमें लिखा होता कि केमिकल वहाँ पर जो है अल्कोहल मिला है। अगर उसमें स्टमक में वो ये कह रहे हैं सिर्फ फूड पार्टिकल मिला है, मतलब कि अल्कोहल कहीं से कहीं तक नहीं था।
मैं नहीं जानती निधि को।
आप निधि को जानती नहीं है? उससे पहले कभी कोई मुलाकात की?
मैंने घर पे आए थे तो लेके गए।
मैंने नहीं देखा निधि को।
ये सारा प्लान उस निधि का है। पुलिस प्रशासन उससे सख्ताई से पूछे कि क्या कर रही है, क्यों कर रही है।
Let's go across first up to my colleague Anvit, who's joining us. He's been tracking the entire investigation. Anvit, you know, there is of course a question that is emerging over the timings of the CCTV. Now you are learning, of course, that the police believe the timings of the two critical CCTV footages were off, and they have in a way pieced together the sequence of events. So please just explain to our viewers once again, what do they believe? And secondly, isn't it now incumbent on part of the police to come out and actually say what they believe is the sequence in public? Because, you know, in the lack of the police version, what's happening is that there is a lot of people who are speculating on what is happening.
Yeah, Shivani, see, there has been a discrepancy in what the police had initially been saying, what the CCTV footage shows, and the statement of the woman who's the sole witness in this entire case. Now, these discrepancies in the first place have risen because police as witnesses only has Nidhi or the four men who were the occupants of the car. Their statement obviously cannot be relied upon because they are the accused in the case and they have been arrested. Nidhi at the same time was drunk at the time when the incident took place, and she and Anjali, what the police investigators have told us, had been drinking at the hotel where they had gone, and both of them were in an inebriated state when this incident took place. Therefore, Nidhi's statement is also not something that police can completely rely upon. That is why these discrepancies have risen. Secondly, the CCTV footage that we had shown, the one in which Nidhi is seen reaching home, the second in which these two are seen leaving the hotel, and the shot of accident that is there. All these three footages have reflect a time, but police have been saying that only the footage that reflects the car in which the slippers can be seen coming out of the car, or the Baleno car, only that is the footage as per them, which falls rightly into the bracket of time which they are saying the incident took place, which is from 2 a.m. to 2:10 a.m. Police says that the CCTV footage in which these two girls are seen leaving the hotel, that DVR was actually 15 minutes slower than the actual time, while the DVR in which the Nidhi can be seen reaching home, that police is claiming that it is at least 50 minutes slower, and that is why the discrepancy in the time has risen. Now, to solve this and to manage to establish the sequence of incident, because none of the CCTV footages have been able to reach the police so far, in which the two vehicles can be seen colliding and the accident can actually be seen happening. So to establish the sequence of incident, where the police, the only thing the police is left with is to obtain CDR, the call detail records of these two women, and finally find out from the mobile phone operators, that cellular operators, to locate the location of these two women on that very fateful night. That is the only way now to confirm whether these two women were together, as Nidhi has been alleging, and that she fled the accident spot after the two vehicles collided, or it is a story that she has made up. Also, it will help police to find out what was the location of those four men, the occupants, and whether at any time were they together, or it was the only time of accident when all the two women and the four men came together. So the only way out is the CDR details, and only that will now establish what was the actual location of all these 6 people at that night.
Yeah. Now, Anvit, I know that the deceased friend in this case, Nidhi, whose conduct and statement is coming under question, she's given a witness statement, but witnesses can also be cross-questioned. Do you believe the police will also look into what her statements are, whether they can be taken at face value? You are mentioning that she was also inebriated when the accident happened. That's what the police believes. Then is her version reliable? How are they going to dig deep into her version, even if it may be the case that she is a very crucial link to this sequence of events?
She certainly is. She's the only witness basically in the case. Accused statement will not be counted as a witness, even though they were at the spot, because they will be alleging things that are in their favor. At the same time, Nidhi's statement is also not completely reliable, because her name surfaced only a day later that the accident took place, and her statement was only recorded on Tuesday, while the incident took place during the early hours of Sunday. So after at least 24 to 48 hours later, her statement was recorded, and she was in an inebriated state at that point of time when the incident was taking place. How would she recall time by time incident, how it exactly unfolded in the police statement? So that is something that the police is not completely relying upon, and that is why when we spoke to some senior officials, they say that the exact way out to scientifically corroborate her statement is to check the call detail records and find out what were their locations at that point of night, and also it will help them to find out what at what time did these women reach the hotel, and what time they leave the hotel, what time they reach that particular place where the accident took place, and then
when did Nidhi reach home? Finally, Anvit, I have another important question to ask you, which is on the post-mortem report. Now, that's a report. That's not anybody's version. The family is saying there is no alcohol mentioned as far as the post-mortem report is concerned. But is that the final word on whether alcohol was present in the system?
No, it's not. What the police are saying, the investigators believe that they have preserved viscera samples from the stomach and intestine of the deceased. And they are saying that those reports are still awaited. Only once those reports are out, it will be finally decided whether this woman had consumed alcohol as alleged by Nidhi or not.
Okay. And are there any witnesses to them consuming alcohol? One of them or both of them?
See, as going by the initial investigation, Nidhi has alleged that Anjali had consumed alcohol. Nidhi has also confessed that she had been drinking. But to scientifically corroborate it, police will need the medical records.
So there are no witnesses to this?
Whether Anjali was...
I'm assuming that they were consuming this alcohol, if true, at the hotel where they were. Are there no witnesses to it?
No, because it was inside a room that they were consuming alcohol. There would be witnesses, but only the hotel staff, which has asked them to step out of the hotel after they got into an altercation. These two women had gotten into an altercation, and that is when the staff asked them to leave. Staff has told police that they had been drinking some liquor bottles. Apparently, have also been recovered from that very room in which they had hired for that night. But police has not come out on record saying that. They have said that Anjali's reports are awaited, while Nidhi has confessed to them that she was drinking.
She was drinking,
and her medical reports, her medical could not be done because it was 48 hours had already passed, and if blood samples were taken, it would not reflect that she had consumed alcohol.
All right, Anvit, I really appreciate you joining us and putting some things into perspective. Let's take this to our guests who are joining us. We'll be joined by Charu Pragya, BJP spokesperson, in just a bit. Priyanka Kakkar of the Aam Aadmi Party is joining us. T.R. Kakkar, who's former Commissioner of Police, Delhi, is with us. Dr. Dinesh Rao, forensic expert, is also with us. Rekha Agarwal, advocate in the Supreme Court. Also Namit Saxena, who's a lawyer in the Supreme Court as well, joining us. I want to go across to T.R. Kakkar first up. Sir, given everything that is coming to light, the questions that the families of the deceased are also raising, different versions, etc., do you believe it becomes incumbent on the police to now investigate, I'm using that term, investigate Nidhi and her statements, because she's a witness in this case?
See, Nidhi has made a statement under 164. Unfortunately, she is flip-flopping on that statement a little bit here and there. Question first arises is whether the two girls were in that room, in that hotel or not. Now that gets established because the hotel staff has given a statement perhaps that these two girls were there. When there was some commotion, they asked them to leave. Now what happens is they come down. They come down and they go perhaps to the scooty, and there is again some altercation. On that altercation, whether Nidhi is telling us the truth or not, that at this stage only Nidhi knows. But a proper investigation and interrogation of Nidhi, because Nidhi is not doesn't seem to be a hardened criminal, therefore an intelligent interrogation of Nidhi would give us a true sort of story. Again we have that Nidhi goes back. Why she goes back, she leaves her friend after the accident, is her choice. We can say nothing except that morally she was not
wrong,
correct.
yes, yeah.
But then there is again a witness. There is again a witness to say that she reached home at such a now time again. This time, as you just stated, there are different versions, and but she did reach there, and she asked that fellow to sort of charge her mobile, etc., and then she made a statement, complaint. But we have a very solid evidence in that Deepak, who tells us that he made phone calls after phone calls to the police control room, police vehicles, and he was in touch with the last police control room van. So therefore, his statement is very, very important.
Yeah, but he didn't
there
witness
are two
the
things
accident.
that you have to look at.
No, unfortunately, what has happened, sir, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Yes.
He didn't witness the accident. The moment of the accident is also not caught on any CCTV. That's the problem.
Perfectly fine. But he does make a very solid statement that he did see some sort of body underneath the car which was being dragged. Now, there are two aspects. One is the investigation as to what happened. The other is the sort of dereliction of a serious dereliction of duty on part of the policemen who were
Sir, I'll come to the police's role in just a bit.
Or who were there.
I'll come to the police's role in just a bit because we have some exclusive information in that regard too. I will also play out an excerpt of the eyewitness Deepak on what he told me and why the police's role is under question, which they seem to be accepting now. But I want to go to Dr. Dinesh Rao, who's a forensic expert on the issue of the alcohol consumption. Now, the family is very well within its right to raise the question, Dr. Rao, is that the autopsy is not mentioning alcohol. Do these autopsies generally mention alcohol if it is there, or is that done separately?
That's a very good question, See, what happens is once the person has consumed the alcohol will be present in the blood and of course the other organs, excretory organs, including the urine. But more importantly, once the cavities are opened, especially the chest cavity, the brain cavity and the stomach, we'll definitely smell the alcohol. That is the most important thing I wanted to say. So smell of alcohol to the autopsy surgeons will be very obvious once the cavities are opened if the individual has consumed the alcohol. So then when we take the body fluids and other organs where the excretory process has taken place for the further analysis to understand the quantity of the alcohol.
So is it mentioned in an autopsy? In this autopsy of Anjali, while it says that further details will also come out, it doesn't mention alcohol. So what are we to assume from this? That there
So
was no
what is-
alcohol?
Yes. One is the possibility that she might not have consumed the alcohol. That is one. And the
Okay.
second is possibility something substance abuse might be she might have consumed. So these are the two possibilities. But smell of alcohol, if at all she has consumed the alcohol, it should have been there when the cavities are opened. Then only based on that suspicion we send the blood and the viscera and even the urine for the chemical analysis.
No.
So when there is no smell, we definitely not send the viscera.
No,
And the
so,
second
sir,
thing,
what
if she
I'm
has
trying to
consumed the drug-
understand is the police is telling us that they will do a viscera examination and then it will come to light whether alcohol was there or not. From
No,
what you are
definitely-
saying, once again, what from you are saying, it's not necessary to do the viscera investigation. It can be known during the post-mortem itself.
Yeah. See, one viscera analysis is necessary to understand both the quantity and qualitative type of the alcohol.
Okay.
But once the cavities are opened in the post-mortem, chest cavity, abdominal cavity and the cranial cavity, smell of alcohol will definitely be present if the individual has consumed the
So
alcohol.
is
Let
that
them know-
mentioned? Is that necessarily mentioned in a report or not?
No, we always mention.
Okay.
That's what we say. Further analysis, the chemical analysis, the viscera has been preserved. Further analysis. Because
No,
we
but
want-
it's
we can't-
strange. It is strange.
Yeah.
Don't you find it strange, Mr. Rao, that in this case the autopsy didn't mention alcohol at all? What are we to assume from that? That she didn't have alcohol?
Yes, we had to assume based on the report if you go,
Huh.
definitely we had to assume she might not have consumed the alcohol.
Okay.
But
Now that's very
a
important.
possibility.
That's very
Possibility of
important.
drug
And I
cannot be
go
ruled
across
out.
to Priyanka with that because then that puts Nidhi's claims that Anjali was drunk and heavily drunk into serious question. Priyanka.
Shivani, good evening to everyone. Shivani, constantly we have seen I'm glad the former CP also said that there are quite a few flip-flops in the version of the witness and now what we are seeing through the reports. Also, there was a very glaring discrepancy where she mentioned that her phone was destroyed and she couldn't make a call. And then we saw a video today where the neighbor told that she had come to him for a charger in the night. So there are huge discrepancies, and to my mind, these discrepancies, they will lead to an ultimate acquittal of all of these accused persons because the police has failed to collect any medical evidence.
Why should they lead to the acquittal of the accused? I don't understand.
Of course. Why not? Because if the police is basing the investigation based on this witness alone, this witness will not stand in the court of law because she has
But
so
they
many
can
flip-flops.
piece
She will
together
not
what
be remanded.
happened. There is a CCTV footage of these men's cars dragging the body.
Yes.
So even
But
if, let's say,
Shivani,
Nidhi's...
her statements that whatever her statements are, it is pointless to discuss them. Whatever is available is only through the CCTV is what I'm saying. And then again, the question comes back to whether they had consumed alcohol, not consumed alcohol, all of which reports are absent in the police report.
No,
I do want to mention
the accused alcohol is a separate issue. I'm discussing because Anjali is not with us anymore. We have to go by what Nidhi says. But now it comes under suspicion whether
In the
Nidhi
court,
herself
it
is
won't
lying or
stand.
not.
In the court, it won't stand with so many flip-flops already on so many TV channels that we have seen. It will
No,
be
once again.
difficult for this
Again, for the
stand.
benefit of my viewers, I must say, ultimately in court, what goes is not what she has said on TV. It will go what she has said in her witness statement. So let's not mix
That
the
is
two.
what the former CP said, that it is a flip-flop from her 164 statement. That is what the former CP said.
No,
when
the
he started
flip-flop
the show.
where?
That
It's
is
not
what I'm
irrelevant. We are discussing this because she has spoken to the media. I'm not
Shivani,
sure
let me please
if it will
complete
impact
what
the
I'm saying.
case as badly. I think we are discussing this because if you are with someone, you are a friend of somebody, you first come out and say something that she was drunk. You don't mention that apparently police is telling us that she herself was drunk. The PM report doesn't mention any alcohol. On top of that, you are right. She said she couldn't call anybody because her phone was destroyed. We are running these questions on her conduct. But what has now come to light is that she went to her home. She then asked for a charger to charge her phone and her phone was put on charge. So was it destroyed or was it out of charge? These are indeed questions.
Shivani, let me also say this with full responsibility that these questions will lead to the accused not being punished. These questions will not lead there. The questions have to be asked of the police. The questions have to be asked of the government, which is manning this police. Because even today, we saw a report of one ASI ramming 6 cars when he was in a drunken state. Another head constable setting himself ablaze in Vijay Chowk. There are 2 incidents today that we see, one acid attack and one stabbing incident. There is also the fact that this police is manned by a party whose
Priyanka,
political
I'm not
netas,
interested in
MPs
doing party politics. I'm not sure why the Aam Aadmi
Shivani,
Party is
you have
insisting
to
on doing that.
question-
I am discussing
you
the
have-
case. I'll
Speak
discuss
it-
larger
Shivani,
policing
please
issues in
after
just a bit. I'm going to come to
These
the police's
questions
role.
will not
I
lead
have
anywhere.
discussed the police's role. I just don't want to do party politics on this. 1 second,
These
please.
questions will lead nowhere unless you put the
No,
party
these
in
questions
power
are
in
important.
question.
I'm not sure if that means that the accused will be acquitted. I'm not sure if that leap is fair, but these questions are important. On the question of how seriously can Nidhi's statement be taken, let me go across to a couple of lawyers who are joining us. Rekha Agarwal is with us and Namit Saxena. Namit, my question to you is, if indeed, I don't know how the police will prove it, maybe through circumstantial evidence and some witness report, because no medical is available for Nidhi. If Nidhi was also drunk, what is the value of her statement?
Hypothetical question.
This is not hypothetical, I'll tell you why. Because the police believes she was drunk at that time. And if she's the sole witness who's also inebriated, what is the legal value of her statement is a very valid question, Priyanka. It's not hypothetical. Let Namit respond.
You have to first understand that it is the accused who are on trial and not
Yeah.
the witness, who's on trial.
Fair.
Is one. Second, assuming that the witness admits that I was in an inebriated state, when the crime was committed, when the alleged crime was committed, that does not, hamper what evidence she gives in a court of law.
Okay.
See, the evidence, the 164 statement which she is even giving right now will not be read as an evidence. I'll tell you why. Because there is no cross-examination of this particular witness by the defense counsel at this stage. The testimony which she'll give on oath before the court, the trial court which conducts the trial, because the defense counsel will then cross-examine her on certain points. It isn't cross-examination that it has to come that she was in an inebriated state, and that is for the defense counsel to prove. If the witness then does not admit that I was in a state, under intoxication, that my testimony cannot be correct.
So
at that
that's what I'm
particular point.
asking you, Namit. The defense will certainly use that.
Yes, so see, it is a matter of trial.
Okay.
First, the accused have to be identified. The accused have to be put, under a charge sheet. The accused have to be charged by the court. It is only thereafter the stage of evidence may come. And assuming, see, at this stage, we can't even speculate that the prosecution will actually use this particular girl as a prosecution witness at all or not. They may not even use it. They may have other circumstantial evidence to connect the dots and, prove
the
the
case.
crime beyond doubt.
Okay,
So,
okay.
it's speculative at this stage.
Okay.
But even assuming that, that she was under intoxication and she admits it before the defense counsel in a cross-examination, even then, solely on this reason, solely on this basis, her testimony cannot be shrugged off. There can be other parts. When you read evidence, you can take, statements from evidence and you can discard statements from the evidence as a whole. So, the statements which are valid for the prosecution's case to prove beyond reasonable doubt, that part of the statement can very well be taken on record and read in as evidence against the accused.
Okay, fair enough. Let me also go across to Rekha Agarwal here. Rekha, in this case, indeed, it could be a little bit of a challenge for the police. You tell me what your assessment is, because the police does not have any means to, they don't feel that there was any intent first. So this is a case of accident according to them. Culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Maybe the charges will be increased, culpable homicide amounting to murder, if it can be shown that the accused willfully dragged the body despite knowing it, then it could amount to murder. Second is, of course, how well can Nidhi's testimony and witness statement be taken. But before I go to Rekha, let me also go across to Charu Pragya. Charu Pragya, you've heard what your political opponents are saying, not just the Aam Aadmi Party, even the Congress Party has come out today saying that, there is something fishy as far as this case is concerned. You've been trying through Delhi police from day one to somehow make sure that the accused are not punished to the fullest extent of the law and their actions. Your response, and also I'll come to the question of Nidhi's phone in just a bit. Yes, your response.
Shivani, good evening. And the incidents of the last couple of days have been horrifying. What is more horrifying is the way that new details about the case keep emerging every few hours. I'm following it very closely, and trust me, I have goosebumps. And I think it is really sad that people can play politics over the dead body of this young girl, even at a time like this today. And even if you want to play politics, at the end of the day, I understand Aam Aadmi Party, Congress, काम है politics करना, but what is the end result of this politics? Are you reaching somewhere with politicizing things? Are you saying that because we are being extremely political, not questioning the person who's supposed to answer calls in the PCR van, for example, straight away wanting to question the LG? I think that's not a constructive way of looking at the issue here. Even now on your show, the way Priyanka spoke, I think we are missing the larger picture. We are missing the larger picture. We all understand that there are pieces of this puzzle which the police needs to put together. We understand that there has to be better supervision while this case gets investigated. We also understand that while the 5 accused are behind bars right now, the court needs to rule against them for them to remain there or to be hung or to get life imprisonment, whatever it is. See, when something like this happens, there are issues which come up which are societal issues. We have been discussing the presence or the absence rather of CCTV cameras.
No, I'm not going to get into that. No, one second. I'm not going to get into that.
I'm getting into that and
I'm not getting into CCTVs and lighting on the streets for now. No, I'm just discussing the case. I do not have time.
Responsibly, let me finish. No, I'm moving on from there. Please let me finish. 2 more points I want to raise here. One, we understand the police-civilian ratio in India leaves a lot to be desired. That is an issue we need to look at, and we need to look at it from a very constructive point of view, not only because one case has happened today. And the last thing, and this also is a societal problem, why is it that people feel comfortable hiding accidents like this, or if we call it a hit-and-run case, why these 5 people...
No, I'm sorry, I'm not going into those societal reasons. The fact is that there were calls made to the police. There are eyewitnesses who chased the car and did their duty. So please don't give me this lecture about societal issues. Yes, not everybody is a saint in this country or anywhere in the world. But that doesn't mean the police doesn't do its duty.
Not everybody is a saint. Are you trying to say that every person who wears a uniform is supposed to be a saint? Or if one political party of 18 crore members, for that matter, is responsible for every other employee?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I am saying I'm not allowing politicization of this case. But the responsibility of policing cannot be shirked away and it cannot be put on society at large. I'm sorry. Drunken driving is something that has come out so obviously as far as this case is concerned. Why is it that the police was not checking cars on New Year's night and actually checking if people were drinking and driving? I'm sorry, Charu, everything cannot be blamed on society alone. But on the issue of the friend herself, Rekha is back with us. Rekha, the interesting issue that has also come up now is that as more CCTV images emerge, the version of Nidhi, the friend, is coming under question. Now, one of those things that she said yesterday to us, I'm not talking about a witness statement and what she said there, but what she told the media was that she did not call anybody, especially the police, after her friend was dragged in front of her eyes, is because her phone was broken. Now, it could very well be the case. Today, a witness comes and says she went home, asked for a charger. So, the question naturally that comes up is, was her phone truly destroyed? To the extent that she couldn't call anybody. Then, even if it was destroyed, you reach home in the safety of your home, which should have been your priority, you still don't call the police. Is this witness reliable?
See, what I would say over here, Shivani, that lots of questions can arise, in this discussion, this debate that we are having at the moment, because every day the statements are changing, at the drop of a hat. Now, this is a matter which has to be seen from the angle of law as well as from the angle of human psychology. Now, obviously, this girl, Nidhi, as of now, prima facie, she does not appear to be a credible witness. I would not say trustworthy or untrustworthy, but obviously, it is clear that she has been changing her statement, and which I would not use the word friend, that whether she was the victim's friend or whether she was just an acquaintance. But what stopped her from coming forward at the first instance, and why does she change her statement from yesterday to today? So all those things raise a lot of questions. A lot of fingers can be pointed at her, which are going to be used. What I'm really worried about, is that if this kind of behavior or this kind of testimony that is going to be given by any person who the prosecution may or may not use as a witness, in the charge sheet. But if this person is taken as a prosecution witness, then for all we know, as Namit also said, right now, that these things can be used by the accused persons to, hope for an acquittal. That, what exactly?
No,
what
but Rekha ji,
exactly-
how do they get acquitted? I can understand if their charges get diluted, but how do they get acquitted?
They can even get acquitted, Shivani, because at the moment we are not having any evidence with us except for, yes, you do have the CCTV camera, footages which we are seeing on various channels. But, as they say that truth is stranger than fiction. There is an old saying that truth is stranger than fiction. For all we know, tomorrow, it can be the case of murder, it can be a conspiracy, or it can be a very simple case of an accident due to negligence, sheer negligence on the part of the accused, and God forbid, negligence in driving even on the part of the victim. So if it is a plain simple accident,
Yeah, so
in which
right
there
now,
was no,
that's what the police is saying, that this is an accident and it is negligent driving leading to murder. They are not actually calling it a murder. They've not said there was any intent or mens rea or any motive here. So that's what we know. But even as negligent action leading to murder, I don't know how they're going to ever get acquitted of that.
now that depends upon what is the extent of evidence against the accused finally.
Okay.
To prove that the negligence was for such a grave nature that it cannot be pardoned. Accidents happen every day on the roads. Accidents take place day in and day out. On every road, especially in metro cities. But how many people and people even die in accidents? Sometimes the injuries are fatal. Sometimes they may be superficial injuries, trivial injuries. Sometimes the injuries may be so serious that it can even lead to the death of the victim. But then again, is that injury a deliberate injury? Was it due to sheer negligence? Now, if it is sheer negligence, the negligence has to be seen from A to Z. What is the benchmark? What is the touchstone on which you can say that now you have crossed? It's like they say white, black, and there's a middle area which is called the gray area.
Okay.
So from how do they step from white to the black area, which is what the prosecution would like to prove, that it was a case of total negligence, gross negligence, which cannot be pardoned by any stretch of
imagination. Well, that
imagination.
obviously is also established by the fact that the accused dragged the body. Now, of course, they will claim unknowingly for more than 10 kilometers on the streets of the national capital. But on the issue of this accident taking place itself, the fact that the body could be dragged for as long as it was, let me focus on the police's role now. After the MHA asked for an inquiry into the Delhi hit and drag case, the Delhi police has shared a preliminary report with the ministry, and in this report, the police has accepted that there were lapses on part of the policemen deployed at the pickets especially. What has come to light is that as per the eyewitness claim too, the police received the first call at about 3:20 a.m., another call a few minutes later, and a final call informing them about the body lying on the road at 4:11 a.m. But the police search, we are told, was launched only after the third call. Now, CNN News 18 had spoken to the eyewitness in this case, who had detailed how he had called the police multiple times. He was in fact on call with the PCR while he was following the accused car, but that for nearly an hour, the police couldn't trace the car, even as 3 PCR vans crossed him and another refused to entertain him. Before I take questions to our guest on the police's role, listen in to what he had told us.
3:18 पे सबसे पहले मैंने उस गाड़ी को देखा जिसके नीचे डेड बॉडी फंसी हुई थी, और वो गाड़ी कंजावला साइड से आई थी। उसी टाइम मैंने 3:18 पे दुकान का शटर ओपन किया था, जिससे ओपन करते के साथ ही मेरे को कंजावला साइड से जो गाड़ी आ रही थी उसकी आवाजें सुनाई दी। जैसे गाड़ी का टायर फटने के बाद चल जाते रहते हैं, वो गड़गड़ की आवाज आ रही ना, और मैंने तभी तुरंत टाइम वेस्ट ना करते हुए 3:20 पे 112 नंबर डायल कर दिया था, और तभी से तकरीबन पीसीआर मेरे से 22-23 मिनट से जुड़ गई थी। फिर उसके बाद 3:30 पे वो ही गाड़ी मेरी दुकान के सामने से आगे से यू टर्न लेकर दुकान के सामने से फिर गुजर रही है। तो मैंने तभी उसी पीसीआर को कॉल किया जिससे मेरी बात हुई थी, माँ जनाब ये तो वही गाड़ी आगे से कहीं से यू टर्न लेके दुकान के सामने से फिर गुजर रही है, अब कंजावला साइड जा रही है, कुतुबगढ़ साइड से। मैं कहा आप कहाँ हो? वो बोला हम आ रहे हैं भैया, वहीं आ रहे हैं, आप वहीं रुको। मैं ठीक है साहब। तो मैंने जैसे अपनी स्कूटी लेके उस गाड़ी का पीछा करने लग गए कि माँ लोकेशन बताते रहेंगे। प्रशासन से मैं टच में ही रहा हूँ तकरीबन जितने टाइम तक मैंने उसको फॉलो किया गाड़ी को, प्रशासन से कॉल मेरी चलती ही रही है।
अच्छा।
जैसे मैं लाडपुर पहुंचता हूं तो गाड़ी आगे से एक पीसीआर गाड़ी मेरे को आती नजर आई और उसी टाइम लाइन पे मेरे साथ जो जनाब थे जिससे मेरी बात चल रही थी पहले, माँ जनाब पीसीआर आ रही है सामने से, अगर इसके पास मैसेज हो तो ये इस गाड़ी को रोक सकता है, हम इससे बिल्कुल 50 से 60 मीटर पीछे हैं। लेकिन वो बोले नहीं ये टच में नहीं है, और हम वहां से क्रॉस होते हुए बिल्कुल सीधे चले गए। और वो पीसीआर भी हमको शायद देख नहीं पाई या हमारे वो इन्फॉर्मेशन उसके पास नहीं थी या वो हमको झूठा समझ रहे थे। लेकिन मैं फिर भी पीछा करते करते यहाँ से लेके बेगमपुर, यहाँ से तकरीबन 10 किलोमीटर पड़ता है, वहाँ तक गया हूँ। 3 पीसीआर इस दौरान मेरे से क्रॉस हुई हैं। किसी ने जैसे वही बात फिर आ रही है, या तो रोल घूमने के चक्कर में मेरी एग्जिट लोकेशन उन्होंने नोट नहीं कर पाई या मेरे पास तक पहुँचना नहीं चाहा या वो मेरे को झूठा समझ रहे थे। मैंने लास्ट पीसीआर मेरे को बेगमपुर जो मिली है, मैंने उसको तो बिल्कुल शीशा उतरवा के जनाब का माँ जनाब ये गाड़ी वो है जिसके नीचे डेड बॉडी फंसी हुई थी, आप इसको पकड़ो। और वो वहीं भी 20 से 25 किलोमीटर पे चली हुई थी। तो जनाब ने मेरी तरफ देखने के बाद मेरे को बिल्कुल इग्नोर कर दिया है और कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी शायद नहीं दिखाई उन्होंने।
It is clear from that sequence of events, Mr. Kakkar, I'm coming to you, that accountability has to be set on the last person and the cops on the street that night. It is clear that they did not do their duty, and we are being told the police is accepting that there were indeed lapses as far as the search party is concerned.
I have no reason to disbelieve the statement of Deepak even 1%. He has been following the vehicle, he has also been sending messages to the PCR. There are two things. To say that there is no police presence, that is not right, because PCR vans were there. It is the serious dereliction of their duty that is to be questioned, and for that they must be held responsible. And I would even feel that if they reasonably found guilty, even reasonably found guilty of not carrying out their duties as they should have, they should be dismissed under 311(2) of the Constitution. Nobody, but this is provided, and they should be, even if there is little doubt, because such a serious incident has taken place and they did not react to the entire incident. That is dereliction. But that has to be established by somebody.
Yeah, and we hope that accountability is set. That's the main issue, because often we see that, such cases come to limelight,
and
they get brushed aside, eventually nothing happens.
Dismiss these people, dismiss
couple
of them.
Some strong action has to be taken.
Couple of them who are responsible.
On top of that, what has also happened, and Priyanka, I'll bring you in here, because this is indeed a larger question of the police's actions in the immediate aftermath of the accident. There is another footage that has come to light, which is the supposed moment and the street and the location of the accident. Anjali's scooter goes from that location, the accused car comes from the other side, and then a police van is actually crossing that exact location. I fail to understand, how did the police not nab the car and the accused there and then? What is going on?
Shivani, there are too many questions. The police has been, you will say I'm politicizing it, but unfortunately it has to be, because the LG is not looking into the law and order. Even this case, Mr. Kakkar is sitting here, I respectfully submit that in the condition that the body was found, initially only a 304A was slapped, you will recall. Even today, there have been 2 cases which I mentioned. An ASI was drunk driving and he rammed into 6 cars. Even today, another case happened where a head constable set himself ablaze in Vijay Chowk. 2 incidents have been reported where a woman was stabbed 22 times at Adarsh Nagar, and at Pandav Nagar, a woman was threatened to either accompany the person to sit in the vehicle or acid will be thrown of her. This is repeated failure on part of the Lieutenant Governor.
So you you're saying, let me understand this. I'm not sure if Charu Pragya of the BJP is with us, but you are saying that the LG is focusing on everything else, but is not focusing on law and order that he should be doing.
That is why the situation is getting from bad to worse, and this is a party which perpetually protects people like Sandeep Singh or Manoj Mittal or
But your
MP
charge that the
or-
accused here are being protected, I am not finding enough evidence of that. I am sorry to say, there is a larger question on the
evidence
police.
against them. There are very little there is very little evidence against them. That is the biggest evidence. There
No,
is
but how
one
do we know?
witness
How do
who-
we conclude the investigation and what the police is capable of doing right now? It's been 3 days since the accident. I'm just saying, aren't you not also jumping the gun here? Let the police do its job.
Not at all, Shivani. We've been saying this from day one.
Yeah,
and
precisely.
look at the
From day
shoddy
one, you said that the police is helping the accused. On what basis? I can understand if the charge sheet is weak. I can understand if it's been 2 months since the investigation and not much has come out. From day one, how do you allege that?
Because okay, let me say this then. Let me please hear me out. You know, there is a pattern of this government repeatedly. This
I'm
government
sorry.
garlands
Pattern
with-
otherwise does not impact this case. No, I'm sorry. I will speak only on this case, on the facts of
On
this
this
case,
case,
on the
let me
facts of
speak.
this investigation.
Let me talk. on
Patterns
this.
are not legally very sound arguments. That's a
Let me speak
political
on this
argument.
case. Let me speak on this case. There is a dead body found with the brain matter missing, with ribs completely ghasitoed, with no lungs outside, and the police only goes ahead and registers a 304A
But
and does not
Priyanka,
name the
I
accused
had
in the
cops
FIR.
yesterday
That
and
should ring
even
alarm
till
bells.
today are saying that the FIR is not something you need to base your
Shivani,
investigation on.
Shivani, but at
FIR
the
is
same
registered,
time,
things
it is
come
such
to
a-
light, you do the
it is
rest. Now, you
such a-
can hold the police responsible if they don't do
Why-
the rest of their job. But
why
on
do
the
you
larger
go to-
policing issue, one second. On the larger policing issue, let me go across to Rekha for a final comment. That indeed is a matter of concern. And we keep talking about police reforms. Unfortunately, the police is also understaffed. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough technology. They don't have enough motivation. What is the incentive for a police officer to do his or her job correctly is also a big question in our country, given the circumstances in which they work. And we keep talking about police reforms and nothing really happens.
Of course, Shivani, it is a very unfortunate state of affairs that given the circumstances, the police, whether the police has done its job properly or not, of course, the report which has been given to the MHA, has not given a clean chit to the role of the police. They have been delinquent. Be that as it may, if the circumstances, and the odds are totally against the police, they are overworked or whatever, or they're not sensitized, they come from very rural backgrounds, where
Unfortunately, facing an issue as far as Rekha's link is concerned. But Namit, I'll give you a final minute on police reforms, the role of the police, and also should there be prosecution against these police officials as well if they are found guilty of dereliction. Unfortunately, what we don't see, maybe suspensions, but not actual prosecution and not actual, their jobs being taken away from them.
We have to understand what criminal law is. Criminal law is a service that the state to the citizens, you and me and all the panelists included. The first, the state failed in its duty through the investigating agency of the police to first, prevent a crime. Second, now they are, right now failing in, proper collection of evidence, which is, the investigating part, the detection of the crime itself. Because, they have to gather, this is now that we give so much time to the police. When the earlier CRPC was there, they used to give 24 hours to the police to investigate a crime, particularly a cognizable offense included. So, on a larger perspective, we see, leave apart all societal aspects, what is the background of the police force, when they are recruited, etc. The police is a trained, body to do a particular job, which includes prevention of a crime, which it, failed to do terribly. Second, they're also failing in taking it forward. They have to, collect the evidence as quickly as possible. They have to, get prosecution witnesses. They have to seize evidence. They have to, do picketing. They have to collect, for example, a Viscera report has been sent. Viscera report will come when it comes, so all these factors, they dilute the crime. Coming to, the conclusion whether this can actually lead to acquittal, I don't, we can't jump to that conclusion, but it is for the prosecution to prove that it is these particular accused.
I've run out
so
of time. Namit, I've run out of time. We certainly do hope that with all the attention on this case, as far as this case is concerned, it becomes a test case. And certainly there is a watertight case and the accused are, taken to their logical conclusion. The case is taken to their logical conclusion. That's all that we can hope for. Whatever the circumstances are, they are. Whatever the nature of this accident or crime is, it is. It is unfortunate to say the least. I have to slip into a very short break. A big thanks to our guests for joining us. On the other side, we'll get you some top stories from around the world.